Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, part 2 of the revitalization was celebrated today in a groundbreaking ceremony in Frederiksted with new approvals from the National Collegiate Athletic Association for the Virgin Islands to host professional team sports events and training camps. A long-awaited stadium will begin construction. News 2 Stephanie Brown reports.
The Frederiksted Economic Revitalization Project will soon begin its Phase 2 construction of the Paulie Joseph Stadium. The Virgin Islands delegate to Congress highlighted that the first Major League Baseball exhibition game was played on the grounds of the Paulie Joseph Stadium, and the Congresswoman further informed that she has a photo of her father playing baseball at the stadium in her Washington office.
With today's groundbreaking, we believe that the story of the town of Frederiksted will continue as one of progress, historic preservation, revitalization, and economic growth.
Frankie Johnson, Governor Mapp's senior policy advisor, recalled a number of athletes that played baseball at the stadium.
Really, for a small community, have developed a whole lot of players that took part in Major League ball games.
Governor DeYoung had signed a contract with General Engineering Corporation in 2014, and the GEC president is committed to providing opportunities to residents.
This is real. We urge anybody who wants to be employed here during the construction to register at the Department of Labor.
The Lieutenant Governor stated that politics should be sidelined today and all attention should be given to this momentous occasion.
The people of St. Croix in particular, and the people of Frederiksted, to even be more specific.
Governor Mapp was the director of the Finance Authority when the revitalization project was being brought into fruition, and the governor stated that he always knew that the reconstruction of the stadium would happen, despite the words of naysayers.
And I always said, and many of you know in the community, that we're not trying to build a stadium. We are trying to revitalize from an economic perspective the town of Frederiksted and the island of St. Croix.
Along with the granddaughter of Paulie Joseph, the soil was toiled to begin the construction of the long-awaited stadium. For News 2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
Now, in 2004, Phase 1 of the Frederiksted Economic Revitalization Project broke ground with the construction of the Frederiksted waterfront, which is now completed and enjoyed by cruise ship tourists and residents. Well, in other news, some election update. Verbal attacks on Democratic senators in the 32nd legislature were made by Edgar Baker Phillips. Donna Christensen, who is the Democratic Party state chair, wrote in a letter, quote, "The Democratic Party of the Virgin Islands vehemently disavows the statements in the press dated on July 3rd, 2017 of the St. Thomas District chair of the party." The letter further stated that the unwarranted attacks on the character of several sitting senators is totally unacceptable. Edgar Baker took to social media and wrote in response to Christensen that, quote, "May I remind you that the position of the St. Thomas District Committee Chair is not an appointed position, but one directly elected by the Democrats in the St. Thomas District. Therefore, it is highly inappropriate for you to issue a press release condemning my actions simply because it makes some people uncomfortable." Be sure to count on 2. We'll have an update on this. Well, the Virgin Islands prisoner has died while being housed at the Saguaro Correctional Facility in Arizona. Representing the inmate's family, Senator Hansen reaches out to the Bureau of Corrections for an answer on the inmate's death. And according to a legislature press release, the prisoner that was sent to the U.S. by the VI Bureau of Corrections in March of 2016 was reported dead. The inmate's death occurred more than a week ago, yet the inmate's family found out days later. Senator Alicia Hansen left the following statement. She said, "It is our government's responsibility to protect our citizens no matter the circumstance. It is high time we had some answers." Count on 2, we will have you up. We'll get an update on this story, and in the meantime, we extend our condolences to the family. Well, police say on Friday, June 30th at around 3:15 p.m., Alicia M. Erickson, 25 years of age, was detained at the Henry E. Rosen Airport prior to boarding a flight. Ms. Erickson was arrested pursuant to an arrest warrant issued by the VI Superior Court for the charges of animal neglect in the first degree. According to the affidavit submitted by the VIPD animal cruelty investigator, on around January 2017, Ms. Erickson abandoned her cat in an apartment where she used to reside and failed to provide food and water to the cat. After several days and/or weeks, the cat was found inside the apartment in a severe emaciated condition and taken to the St. Croix Animal Welfare Center, where it was humanely euthanized by a veterinarian due to its poor condition. While conducting a follow-up investigation, the investigator learned that Ms. Erickson also resided in a Le Grand Princess home, where a dog was locked up inside the house without proper care. After making a closer inspection of the home, a medium-sized dog was observed inside the house in an emaciated condition, which means skin and bones. Several failed attempts were made to contact the owner of the house and/or the owner of the dog, which resulted in the investigator obtaining a search warrant, which was later executed, and the dog was saved and taken to the St. Croix Animal Welfare Center for medical treatment. If you know of anyone neglecting animals, you can call the VIPD Animal Cruelty Unit. The number was just up at 340-778-2211. Crime Stoppers USVI at 1-800-222-TIPS or 911. Now, Ms. Erickson posted a $3,000 bail and was released pending advice of rights hearing at VI Superior Court. Well, police say on June 12, Ojania Atkins, 22, was shot and killed in the area of Tutu Housing Community in the vicinity of Building 1, and a warrant was issued by the Superior Court for the arrest of Karup Williams. Karup Williams, 43, was apprehended by Killeen, Texas Police Fugitive Apprehension Team on Wednesday, June 14, 2017, when they were alerted by major crimes detectives that he was a fugitive from the Virgin Islands and had been seen in Killeen. On Friday, June 30th, detectives from the St. Thomas Criminal Investigation Bureau Major Crimes Unit made contact with Karup Williams, who was being held at Bell County Jail in Killeen, Texas, and returned back to St. Thomas. He's charged with first-degree assault, third-degree assault, unauthorized possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime of violence. Williams is being held with no bail at the Bureau of Corrections Detention Center, pending his advice of rights. Police Commissioner Delroy Richards stated the Virgin Islands Police Department will continue to implement the further use of technology in both its crime prevention and apprehension efforts. On Saturday, July 1st, at approximately 12:36 a.m., 26-year-old Cyril Joseph Richards was arrested during a traffic checkpoint on the Northside Road, Frederiksted, in the vicinity of Subway. Officers asked Richard to pull his vehicle on the side after observing him not wearing a seatbelt, and during the process, officers smelled marijuana-like substance coming from the vehicle. Upon further investigation, police say Richards confessed to having a firearm in the vehicle. Cyril Joseph Richards was arrested and charged with unauthorized possession of a firearm. Bail was set at $25,000. Richards was remanded to the Golden Grove Detention Center pending advice of rights. German riot police have clashed with protesters in Hamburg on Thursday evening as world leaders arrived ahead of Friday's G20 summit. Police used water cannons as protesters threw smoke bombs. Officers clashed with demonstrators at the anti-capitalist Welcome to Hell protest. The demonstration is happening approximately 2 miles from where the G20 summit is taking place. President Donald Trump arrived in Hamburg earlier Thursday following a visit to Warsaw, Poland. Keeping our eye on the economy, it's called Gorilla Glass, and it's already used in iPhone screens. Now, glass maker Corning is introducing a concept car that uses it in passenger vehicles. It unveiled the car in New York to show off to investors. The Gorilla Glass is used in the dashboard, the center of the steering wheel, and the center console. Even the roof is glass. The company says it's much thinner, lighter, and stronger than regular glass, and that could help with fuel economy. But the big drawback right now, it costs a lot more than regular glass. Taking a look at the numbers there, we can see everything down. The Dow 158, NASDAQ 61, and S&P 500 down 22. Coming up on News 2, imagine spending your summer to provide a service That's what some of these young people did. They traveled from Orlando to the VI. We'll learn more about Catholic Hearts. That's coming up. Welcome back. Imagine spending your summer providing a service or just lending a hand. Well, that is exactly what this young group did. They traveled all the way from Orlando to the Virgin Islands, and they say they're on a mission. Here's more.
These young people took a trip from Orlando to the Virgin Islands, and they are on a mission. They are spending their summer as one of service.
And this is my 4th Catholic Heart work camp that I've been on, and my first outside of the mainland United States, so this has been a cool experience that I haven't gotten to have before.
The Heart Work Camp is based in Orlando, but they have many camps, about 50 throughout the U.S. The team has traveled to Jamaica, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Belize, and now St. Thomas, and they hope to make the trip to St. Thomas an annual one.
So organization, it was started in 1993, so it's actually our 25th anniversary, summer of service, and it's just all about inspiring youth coming closer to Christ and just helping them, equipping them to do awesome service work out in whatever community we might be hosting a camp.
What they're doing here is following our Jesus' Great Commission, when he says to the apostles, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them everything that I have commanded you to do. And the way they do this is by showing that face of Christ, which is the human face of God.
The group has been not only beautifying the St. Peter and Paul School's campus, but they lended a hand in the community as well.
We have been staying at St. Peter and Paul School, and we've also been working here. We've been painting the outside of the building, helping to fix up a couple little things here and there. We've also been at Nana School, the Bethlehem Center, working with Catholic Charities at the Soup Kitchen, and just doing a little bit of work with the homeless as well.
Yeah, the Catholic Heart Work Camp is a nationwide organization that gets together volunteers from different Catholic parishes throughout the United States. They get their youth groups involved to go to different places throughout the United States and other parts of the world to do community service projects. Today we're working at the Bethlehem House. We are finishing painting a mural, as you can see in the background. Yesterday we cleaned it and painted it white, and today we're doing the mural. A couple of the projects that we've done here is built a swing set, cleaned up a little play yard for the swing set, and then just cleaned up and painted up some things that needed to be spruced up.
Well, I come from a big Catholic family, and we really think service is an important part of our faith. And I'm going off to college next year, so it was a big thing. Me and my mom came down here and decided to be a part of this Catholic Heart organization for the St. Thomas trip, and definitely it was a great decision. I really enjoyed every part of it, and I think we're making a good difference here.
If you'd like some information, more information on that program, you can log on to heartworkcamp.com. And we'd like to say thank you to the youngsters for sprucing up the territory. Well, in other news, the Virgin Islands Housing Finance Authority, they will be hosting some public hearings on all 3 islands to present the projects that have been selected for funding through the Community Development Block Grants and receive some feedback on the proposals. The territory is required to conduct these hearings by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Now, the hearings will take place on Monday, St. Croix, 6 p.m. at the Housing Finance Authority Training Room, Lagoon Complex. Wednesday, it's on St. John, 6 p.m. at the Creaky Legislative Conference Room in Cruz Bay. Thursday, it's on St. Thomas at the Housing Finance Training Room in Demerara Plaza. You can call the Housing Finance Authority for more information. Well, as we shared yesterday, the Great Adventure Project Life at the BCB Gymnasium is presently underway. The camp focuses on sports, history, and culture. But on Friday, the students and parents will welcome a special forum and recruitment session along with a presentation. Here's details.
We're having a forum tomorrow here on the islands. We want to reconnect with the community here. We have a long tradition going back several decades of having students from here. And so now we're engaged in reconnecting that and hoping that we can recruit some students to have an interest in Pineywood School. We want people to know what our school is like. It's a place that you almost have to see it in order to believe it and understand it. It's an extraordinary school, again, where we start by putting our young people first, putting their education first.
The program started by the Great Adventure, where we just want to go into our community and revitalize our kids and get them educated. When we went to school, we had one of the philosophies was no ball without having an education. So he stressed like your primary purpose of being the Pioneer was education, and then everything else is secondary.
Well, good job there, and we'll have more on that. Now, the 2017 Latin American Caribbean Senior League Baseball Tournament, that's coming up. Be sure to mark it on the calendar. That's from July 8th to the 15th at the Lionel Roberts Stadium, with participating teams there from Aruba, Curacao, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Venezuela, Panama, St. Martin, BVI, St. Croix, and St. Thomas. So don't miss it. Coming up again, July 8th to the 15th. The Havana Udorcan High School Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps, or we know it as JROTC, the cadet Akimo Dawson, he received the Distinguished Honor Graduate Award at the second annual JROTC Cadet Leadership Challenge Camp. That was held from June 26 to the 29th at the Virgin Islands National Guard Joint Force Headquarters in Estate Bethlehem on St. Croix. A graduation ceremony was held on the evening of June 29, and it recognized cadets for their outstanding leadership and performance during the duration of that camp. The Distinguished Honor Graduate Award goes to a cadet who is highly motivated, displays the highest degree of leadership, maintains excellent appearance, successfully completes all camp trainings, demonstrates exemplary conduct, and is an effective team member as a follower and a leader. Dawson is a rising senior and battalion commander for the Mighty Rays Battalion, who has plans to enlist in the military after high school. He says the honor will help boost his leadership capabilities in the upcoming school year. 3 other cadets recognized for their exceptional leadership for the Distinguished Honor Graduate were Mike Francis, Gavin Goodwin of St. Croix Central High School, and Dizani Smalls of the Shalimali High School. 94 JROTC cadets participated in the 4-day camp representing St. Croix Central High, Shalimali, St. Croix Educational Complex, and the Havana Udorcan High School. Well, 138 tots and teens who took part in the Virgin Islands Game Fishing Club's Kids Fishing Tournament, that was held July 2nd at the IGY's American Yacht Harbor. Now, there were junior anglers along with parents and guardians. They were throwing out those lines. 52 of the junior anglers, ranging in age from 5 to 15 years, were members of the Boys and Girls Club of St. Thomas Summer Camp. Members of the Virgin Islands Game Fishing Club, they walked the docks and helped the junior anglers and adults with everything from fishing technique to untangling the lines. There were pufferfish, snapper, barracuda, lobster, and an eel, along with crabs numbered among the day's catch. Junior anglers practiced conservation by keeping their fish in a bucket of seawater until weighed and then released their catch back into the sea. All the anglers received free entry, which included a t-shirt, backpack, hand line, and bait. Prizes included wood trophies crafted by My Brother's Workshop, as well as these donated by the community businesses such as Diamonds International, Budget, Marine, East End Flower Shop, and Guardian Insurance, in 3 age groups up to 6 years, 7 to 12, and 13 to 5 years. The tournament was sponsored by the Virgin Islands Game Fishing Club, Neptune Fishing Supplies, IGY's American Yacht Harbor, Island Time Pub, and Chelsea Drugstore. Well, just before we head to the weather news, Colorado State University said Wednesday it is raising its forecast for the 2017 Atlantic hurricane season and is now expecting an above-average activity. The odds of a significant El Nino in 2017 have continued to diminished, and most of the tropical and subtropical Atlantic remains warm. The university's Department of Atmospheric Science said in a statement, with the increase in the forecast, the probability for major hurricanes making landfall along the United States coastline and in the Caribbean has increased as well. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has also forecast an above normal Atlantic hurricane season this year. What does that mean for us weather-wise. Well, next week a tropical wave is expected to forecast to enter the Eastern Caribbean on Friday. We'll find out what that means for us directly. The News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
Day here today. We do have somewhat weather heading in our direction, though. Taking a look at our radar and satellite, here we are. Just a couple of clouds passing through, maybe some brief showers if we take a closer look. Really, things are looking pretty nice here for the next couple of hours, but we do have a tropical wave heading in our direction, which means for tomorrow, an uptick in showers. Tonight, 80 degrees, partly cloudy conditions, so just gorgeous out there. And again, just an uptick in showers with this weak tropical wave moving in. St. John tomorrow at 90 degrees. St. Thomas 90 degrees as well. And just a bit cooler in St. Croix, 89 degrees. And any of us could really see just a few showers passing through. The Atlantic marine forecast isn't bad. 3 to 5 feet for the waves. Winds out of the east from 10 to 15 knots. And we don't have any advisories to tell you about. Same story, or similar story, I should say, for the Caribbean. The waves are just a bit bigger, 4 to 6 feet here. Winds are the same, though, out of the east from 10 to 15 knots. And we don't have any advisories to tell you about. So if you're boating or swimming, enjoy yourself. Just make sure you are being careful. So here we are Friday on our 5-day. This is where we see a shower or two because of that weak tropical system moving in, that tropical wave. Temperatures at 90 degrees. Saturday and Sunday, we dry out. Mainly sunny days. A couple of clouds passing through. We could see just a trade wind shower or two passing through here on our weekend. And then Monday and Tuesday, we could see an uptick in showers again. There's a tropical depression. It's going to be moving to the north of us. So that means for us, we're just going to see some more clouds and maybe just a bit more moisture than we typically do. It's certainly not going to hit the islands by all means, just maybe a bit more wet weather. But temperatures hold steady at 90 degrees for our highs all week long. Sandy, back to you.
Thank you. There's our News 2 weather picture there by Safe Ralph. 10 years of age, LCR Community Learning Center. Beautiful colors there. We see a heart, smooth sailing, and sunshine. Ralph, thank you for that. Very creative. Send us your News 2 weather picture to the address on screen and tune in to see it right here on News 2. That is all for this edition. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next time.